Garlands. This piece shows the entrance to Garlands, a gay club in Liverpool. The entrance has a neon sign that reads Garlands, a sign that says Garlands with a heart behind it, and a street sign that reads Abel Street. The background is a block of pink colour. The colour palette is made up of different pinks, white, grey and black. The feeling you get from this piece is that Garlands is a fun and welcoming place. It feels like a celebration of garlands, and the texture of the piece gives it vintage vibes.
Queer marriage in Liverpool. A gay couple from Liverpool made history by being the first in the UK to celebrate a civil partnership in a religious building. Kieran Bohan and Warren Hartley held their ceremony at Ullet Road Unitarian Church in May 2012. Warren, talking of the celebration, said, "Bringing the two elements together means we are able to integrate our sexuality and our spirituality, to celebrate our love for each other and our love of God." Kieran and Warren later converted their civil partnership to a marriage at St George's Hall in November 2015, following the legislation of same-sex marriage in the UK in 2014. Fran Peacock and her partner Angarad got married on 3rd of May 2015 at Ullet Road Unitarian Church. When talking about their special day, they said, "Getting married meant that we got to stand up and make our vows to each other in front of those who we care about and who care about us." For Angarad, it also meant that she could do that in a church. Since then, it's meant that each of us knows that whatever life throws our way, we're in it together. Also, when one of us was hospitalised in an emergency recently, it meant we could speak as each other's wife. In practical terms, it is a legal status which makes some processes in life clear and simple for everyone. Some queer radicals question whether equal rights to marriage means queer liberation. Despite where you stand on this, queer romance and intimacy and love has been embedded in Liverpool's history. John Harrison shares memories of a bracelet from around 1968. The bracelet holds a memory of a boy from school John was having a liaison with at the time. This object holds great sentiment for John. He still possesses the bracelet now, despite moving at least 25 times. Peter Rimmer also discusses meeting his partner Martin on the doorstep of 17 Greenhays Road in July 1975. Their personal collection of photographs illuminates a sense of intimacy and adoration for one another. The couple note that despite the great shifts in the queer community during this period, they are celebrating nearly 40 years together. Before and after the queer community were granted equal rights to marriage, Liverpool's queer community has always had love and intimacy running throughout it.
Gay marriage. There are two mask-presenting people who are in a romantic embrace. They are both smartly dressed. One has long light brown hair and the other has dark brown shorter hair. The two figures are clearly having a moment of celebration between the two of them. The background is a block colour in a pinky purple, bright pastel shade. The colouring of the two figures is saturated and true to life. They have slightly different skin tones. This piece is a digital art, the colours are opaque and there isn't much texture. The vibe of this piece is warm and intimate with a sense of closeness. Brookside Kiss. This piece is of two femme-presenting people about to kiss in a heart-shaped frame with Brookside 1994 written on the right side. This was the first ever queer kiss shown on TV. Brookside was based in Liverpool and written by a queer Scouse fan. The hair is textured in different patterns. They are both wearing preppy, complementary outfits. The feeling of this piece is monumental, empowering, and has a sense of youth.
Pain, for the joy, humour and flamboyance that is evident in Liverpool's queer heritage. There has always been an undertone of pain. The HIV crisis hit Liverpool particularly hard, stealing a generation of mostly young men from Liverpool. Kathy Charters, who is living with HIV, remembers going to 1 or 2 funerals a week at the height of the epidemic. This was increasingly painful, as it was sometimes necessary to be discreet. This was because the family did not know the individual had died of AIDS. For some in the community, there was a sense of survivor's guilt as they were burying their friends, lovers and chosen family. Jonathan Blake is living with HIV today. He reflects on his time in Liverpool during the 1970s. To be at the age of 33 and to be given a terminal diagnosis and told there's nothing that anyone can offer you apart from palliative care when you're dying, it was really bleak and terrifying. I remember going back to my flat and closing the door and shutting the world out. You felt like a modern day leper. It was incredibly awful. It was all couched in fear. It wasn't giving you education. Without computers and mobile phones, it was really difficult to get accurate information. The HIV crisis was particularly difficult in Liverpool due to the drug epidemic within the city. Professor Ashton notes, Liverpool was at the bottom. We were responding to a local issue that was very pressing then, because we were facing such urgent problems and were predisposed to the epidemic of drug abuse, and with the virus turning up as well, it was a crisis, a perfect storm. However, Liverpool paved the way in their response to the epidemic with a stressed importance of engaging, educating and supporting those most at risk of AIDS. This was during a time when other cities used harsher policing which forced drug users into often sharing needles. This caused further spreading of the disease and caused more deaths, whilst the national media branded the disease the gay plague. Liverpool's response of compassion and education was soon used as a global model.
Queer pain, HIV and AIDS. This piece is a zoomed-in look at someone's eye and eyebrow area, with an ambiguous reflection in their eye. The person seems quite aged, with a grey eyebrow. The eye looks sad and tearful. There is a sense of exhaustion in the bags under the eyes. There is an autograph shaped like a mouse in the right-hand corner, and the colour palette of this piece is quite red-toned. The colours feel intense and raw, with a realistic application, and the eye is deep blue. This piece is digital art, but with a more painterly application. It feels less clean-cut and more layered, with texture rather than just block colours. This piece feels sad and emotional. There is a sense of experience that comes from the reflection in the eye. Pete Burns. This piece is a torso drawing of Pete Burns with a textured magenta circle behind as a background, with Pete Burns written in capital letters to the right of the circle. It is an older, femme-presenting Pete Burns with long hair and makeup. Pete Burns is a queer singer from Liverpool who is the lead singer of the band Dead or Alive. The colour palette is pink and magenta heavy, with some grey and black. The vibe of this piece is also iconic. April Ashley. This piece is a torso drawing of April Ashley, MBE, a Liverpool-born trans woman who was the first trans woman in the UK to have gender-affirming surgery. April Ashley appears formal with styled hair, pearl necklaces and a dress. They are older and femme-presenting. There is a tartan texture in their hair. The colour palette is limited, made up of pinks, magentas, grey and black, which is applied in block colour with texture in certain areas. The feeling of this piece is powerful. It feels like a celebration of April Ashley and has a sense of remembrance as she appears statuesque.